Hey guys, Artosis here bringing you some more of Week 10, the show match kind of special edition survival series. If you have been paying attention so far, we have some of the world's best women players as well as a bunch of League of Legends pro gamers basically going at it. Same type of format. Team Darin versus Team Zerg versus Team Protoss. Right now, fresh off a win over a League of Legends pro gamer, we have one of the world's best women players in Darin. It's our Darin player here in the bottom right of Fighting Spirit. In the top left, with this crazy-looking ID, it is Doil, who is an ex-League of Legends player from Sandbox Gaming and Fredit Bryan. So, I don't even know what that team is. I never heard of Fredit Bryan. Maybe it's a misspelling. I don't know. Anyways, I know Sandbox, though. So, we'll see exactly how good he is in comparison to Darin, who, by the way, if you missed it before, does pretty regularly get top 4 in the ladies ASL. So definitely one of these stronger women players. Showed us, a blind counter to Swift's build on Ascension, and actually it felt like the micro and decision-making wasn't quite there for that, but that might not be a very practiced thing, right? It's like it was definitely a risk. Honestly, I can feel it sometimes, if you, don't do a build like that very often, you might not know, if you don't play it, practice it a few times, you might not know the actual decision-making behind what to do. But either way, it ended up working out. Darin was the winner there. We'll see if she can get another one here. Darin versus Zerg on Fighting Spirit. Now, honestly, the spawn that she got is pretty good. Fighting Spirit is such an old map that spawns really matter here more than most maps. Like, for instance, if you watch a lot of my commentary or whatever, you'll know that bottom left on Fighting Spirit is almost impossible to play as Darin. It's just, the map is so old, and Mutalisk micros become very good, so there's just, you can't fit turrets at your natural, basically. Here, not a big issue. You have plenty of room. You can really defend anything. So, pretty good there. And it is cross-spawn. Looks like a 2-hatchery opener here for Doil. Gas finish up. Gonna send those drones over, yeah. So it looks like we're looking at about a 3-minute layer. So probably quick Mutalisks. Definitely something that we've seen from the League of Legends pro gamers. They seem to have pretty good micro. Whereas their macro is maybe what's lacking a little bit more. Which actually, it kind of makes sense. It plays into the narrative, right? Like, in League of Legends, it's very much about that micro play. So we'll see if that continues. And obviously we see a Marine expansion here from Darin. And Doil again with that 2-hatch, probably into mutas, but of course we can't tell quite yet. And now it's just kind of time to wait and see how they want to play this. Now this is non-stop Marine production from Darin, so, and yeah, there's the third depot. Okay, so if you go third depot here, you can either go gas or the second barracks. Either one is fine. Nice little Sim City coming up. Over on this side, the SCV still completely healthy. Only has taken a few hits. Jots down into the natural. And just getting away from those links. That's interesting. Not attempting to keep it alive in there, but instead attempting to just keep it alive, which can be very useful, right? Like, against a 2-hatch play, you're eventually going to lose the SCV. Sometimes you can keep it alive until the layer is basically finished and know exactly what their tech is, and you can skip your scanners a bit longer if you really want. But here, just to save the SCV, not necessarily a bad choice, especially if you turn it around. Yeah, as I was going to say, well, as I was saying, turn it around and go scout for a third. Because you're going to eventually make a third hatchery as Zerg here. Now, it can be in the main base, but a lot of times it will be at another expansion as well. So checking that can be good. In this case, it looks like this is a check for possibly Speedlings coming out. SCV. Oh! Can't quite wiggle past those lings, but only sees these 3 just kind of sitting there as they were left before. So that in and of itself is a lot of intel. Now the engineering bay, pretty darn quick here. Can get that +1 going. Stim already on the way. Pretty solid as far as production goes on these SCVs. So, yeah, this is a slightly quicker upgrade than what we normally see, right? This is almost 30 seconds faster, so it will give you a stronger mid-game with that +1 done. The barracks coming up a little bit later, but that doesn't matter if you're not planning on moving out. You know, you want the barracks more quickly if you're trying to hit pre-muta and put pressure on your opponent. But in a game like this, where you're going for that quick engineering bay, it's not likely that you're going to be able to put much pressure on. In fact, well, I guess counter to what I was saying, she is going to move out a little bit, but I think this is just to pick off any lings that are sitting here. You can't really think that this can do anything, right? It's just a bit too late. Oh! Medics are so smart, aren't they? Okay, pulls that back in time, saves it. We heard a scan, and of course that's going to be just to check on the Spire Tech, make sure that's what's happening. A third hatchery is in the main base, so any pressure builds wouldn't have really done anything anyways. Doil with a single sunken being made, just carefully. And now it's time for those missile turrets. So, very solid builds, I think, on both sides, right? This is kind of like the new style of Zerg vs. Terran a lot of the time. I feel like it's down to 50-50, where 50% of the time Zergs take a third at another gas, and 50% of the time they just make it in their main base. And then over on Darin's side, this is a pretty modern build to just go very fast +1 into 4 barracks. It's going to give you a lot of Marines and Medics, and you're going to be able to take map control a bit quicker and take fights a bit better. So definitely don't hate what I'm seeing here, but I do want to see a couple of turrets down here, because this position specifically, you need a couple turrets. Yeah, there you go. And she knows that as well, of course. But if you don't get the turrets there, the comsat prevents any unit movement from stopping the Mutalisks. Like, the amount of game... You'll lose every time if you don't have 2 turrets down on the bottom. 3 turrets here at the natural. Yeah, the defense looks perfect. Like, the Sim City, really, really good here from Darin. Mutas coming in for the harassment. Pretty decent Mutalisk harassment so far. Picking off a few SCVs. Taking a few hits here. Darin waiting, trying to catch any mutas that fly too far in. Sending those SCVs away from the Mutalisk harassment as they fly out for Doil. A drone being sent to the bottom left to take another expansion. And now it's all about stalling out the movements here of Terran. Great additional turret being added, by the way. These Marines can actually support that turret a lot. So you can't really target this turret down because of the placement of these Marines. This is actually very, very solid play. The factory going to be finishing up. So yeah, this factory started on time as well. So we hear some scans going down. And one of the scans did end up finding this base. So she scanned both of the other mains looking for where the third is, and this is what you do with the very fast +1 attack and 4 barracks. The Marine medic count is pretty darn high. Now the mutas, if you micro them really well, still can stall this out, but the bio ball is getting rather large, so you have potential here to go and actually try to kill off that third. A lot of mutas coming in. There's a full group of 11. Here's 4 more. Let's see what this Mutalisk micro really looks like. Okay, good. Nice pick off there. Doesn't take too much damage. Not bad. Forces the stim, flies away. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty solid micro so far. Picking off a few more. A couple of these mutas that were damaged do end up falling. Maybe time to swap out a few of the injured ones. Swap in some of these more healthy ones up to the north. Yep. That's exactly what Doil's up to right now. The bio ball continues to move to the bottom left. It looks like the bottom left is doomed now. The mutas went a little bit too far out, and if Darin just goes for it, this hatchery is dead. More reinforcements coming out here as well. Mutas see what's happening, but honestly, it's not even worth harassing this at this point. You're just going to end up losing these mutas. Pulls them back. Okay, regrouping. So, I mean, 11 here. With 11, you definitely can pick off units still. All right, the reinforcement's going to get easied off the map. Queen's Nest on the way. Lurker upgrade as well. Definitely, I'd say Darin has taken a reasonable lead here. But if you look at the supply, actually, I do want to point this out. If you look at the supply, there's a lot of Zerg supply and down 20 drones, so it's actually a bigger army right now. Now, this group of Marines and medics has to get back here. Look at this, going up the ramp. Oh my God, this is kind of big. But the SCV's block, a very clutch block there. The SCV's getting in the way of the Lings may actually end up being a game winner here, a game saver, I guess is a better way to put it, because otherwise the barracks would have been compromised, which is how Terrans lose games so easily. Now, the turrets all die at the natural from those Lings, but the returning force that killed the bottom left will clean that out. So it is a hold. And at the end of the day, Doil is very low as far as workers go. Only 20 right now. There is a lurker on the way. Very few lurkers, though, and very few workers. Darin right now starting those 2-1 upgrades. Has double science vessels on the way now as well. And honestly looks very solid and very poised to take this. More mutas are being made. So this is pretty all-in from Doil, which isn't surprising. A lot of times when you lose your third bases Zerg, you just go all-in because it's very difficult to fight back from there. But because there's already vessels out, I don't think that there's much potential here from our League of Legends Pro. All right, look at this vessel coming. It's going on the hunt. If she can get even like one irradiated off here, this Mutalisk flock is going to take a huge amount of damage. All right, some good Mutalisk micro right now, but that's what the splash is to counter. There you go. Oh, beautifully done irradiate as well. It's very low in the stack, and that's a lot of damage. A lot of damage being dealt. Finally pulls it away. But at this point, we are getting up to attack move status on this Terran army. There is not much that can stop it. There are some potential more Sunkens to be made. Obviously, you don't want to buy those till the very last second. Some more Hydras popping out, so maybe more Lurkers can be made here as well. Oh, another beautiful Irradiate here. Doil just about at the end of his rope, and it looks like Darin is going to take down another one.